Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the third episode of the poofcast. My name is Byron. I'm joined today by my co-host Jenny. Say hi, Jenny.
Hi.
My friend Vanessa. Say hi, Vanessa.
Hi, everyone.
My friend Luis. Say hi, Luis.
Hello.
And before we get started today, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's been listening and sharing my podcast. It really means a lot to me and Jenny that you guys are sharing our product and enjoying it, and keep up the good work, I guess. I don't know. Also, I wanted to announce something so you guys can have something to look forward to. So, I'm thinking about doing a giveaway. I'm not sure how many followers I'm going to give away at, but it'll be something like 50 or 100. I haven't decided on the number, but basically whenever I hit or whenever we hit a milestone of followers, I'll do a giveaway, and I'll give away however many followers we hit, that amount equal, and a gift card to wherever you want the gift card to be from. And yeah, so make sure you share it with your friends so we can, do the giveaway. And so back to the podcast. Today we're going to be talking about love languages, the talking phase of a relationship, and the first date experience. But before we get into all of that, would you guys like to share anything that you've gotten yourself into earlier this week? Anybody?
I've just been studying all week. I'm trying to prepare for exams next week, so just getting as much studying.
What about you, Vanessa?
Yesterday was the first day of early voting here in Texas, and I had the chance to go vote with my boyfriend and my parents, who just became citizens this year, so very exciting time.
That's good. That's
awesome.
Great. That's good.
Nothing's really happened for me, per usual.
I don't think I've ever gotten into anything so far this week. What do I have to say? The Saints won on Monday. That's a good thing. Woo! Besides that, I haven't really been into much or anything. Just been being me.
Felt that.
Okay. So, let's get into love languages. And if you didn't know what love languages are the ways in which we express and receive love. There's 5 different types of love languages, and they are words of affirmation, which can be anything from compliments to someone you love or someone you like telling you how they feel about you or something. Like, if something like that makes you happy or would help show that the person loves you more than something else, then your love language might be words of affirmation. Then there's also acts of service, which is things done when your partner wants to be thoughtful and they just want to help you out or something, and it's not something that they're obligated to do. So it might be like if your partner comes over and they see that you are like completing chores or something, if they help you out with your chores and they didn't really have to in the first place, then that might be an act of service or something. And there's also receiving gifts, which is when your partner gives you a meaningful or thoughtful gift. And even though it might seem a little materialistic, it's not really materialistic. It's more so the thought or the meaning behind the gift rather than how much it cost or the gift itself. And then the last 2 love languages are pretty self-explanatory. It's quality time, so when you want to be around your partner all the time, talk to them all the time, and just spend time with them. And then physical touch, which is any like physical intimacy, I guess, so like hugs, kisses, holding hands, and stuff like that. And to find out what our love languages are, we decided to take a quiz online that I'll include in the description of the podcast this week. But our results are as followed. I had a 10 for quality time, an 8 for words of affirmation, a 7 for physical touch, 3 for receiving gifts, and a 2 for acts of service. What about you guys?
Well, when I took the quiz, it gave it to me as a percentage, but we're just going to work with it anyways. 35% was receiving gifts, 32% was acts of service, quality time was 19%, 10% was physical touch, and 3% was words of affirmation.
What about you, Luis and Jenny?
For me, I got an 8 for quality time, a 7 for words of affirmation, a 6 for physical touch, 5 for acts of service, and then finally a 4 for receiving gifts.
And for me, I got 10 for acts of service, 8 for quality time, 7 for words of affirmation, 4 for physical touch, and 1 for receiving gifts.
And it seems like we have like a nice little mix of things. Like, do you guys think that your scores are like valid and compared to like what you actually expect and like out of relationships?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty fair, pretty accurate.
I don't feel like mine is accurate, really. I'm more of a physical toucher, and for me to only get a 4, it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It was hard to choose between what was more meaningful to me, between like, oh, like if you want to hug somebody is more meaningful to you, or if they do this for you is meaningful to you. Like, they're both meaningful to me, but I had to choose one. So
Yeah. And I mean, acts of service and whatnot is like, acts of service and receiving gifts may seem a little like, what is it? Like, you want your partner to worship you or something, but that's not really
yeah.
it. It's just
Yeah,
your
it's not.
partner, like, kind of doing stuff for you out of the kindness of their heart or out of the passion for you, not really to serve you or anything. So don't
like
get the wrong idea of it or anything.
definitely, it warms my heart when someone goes out of their way to do something for me, because in all honesty, like, I don't feel like it's worth doing anything for me because I can do stuff myself, but it's really sweet when somebody does things for me, because I've
Yeah.
always done things myself, so
I mean, I feel like with mine, it's like pretty accurate down the board, but I wouldn't really give myself a low score for anything because whatever somebody does to kind of express their love towards me, I appreciate it because I just like, I don't know, I like when people show me that they love me or whatever.
yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that anyway is like a bad way to show love or anything, but I made my girlfriend take it a few months ago because I was just wondering if what my guess was similar to what is actually her love languages scores and everything. And she had like a 12 for quality time, 7 for physical touch, 7 for receiving gifts, and 5 for words of affirmation and acts of service. And I expected quality time to be pretty high because she just likes being around me and hanging out with me and stuff. And that's perfectly fine and whatnot. But I was surprised that receiving gifts was so high up because she like almost never wants me to give her gifts or whatever. Like whenever I'm like offering to get her something, she's like, no, it's okay. But yeah, I think Vanessa told me that she got her boyfriend to do it too.
Yeah, I got him to do it I don't remember when, might have been a year ago, but he scored very, very high on quality time, which makes sense for him. Especially since my 2 top love languages, since the scores were really close together, was receiving gifts and acts of service. We kind of had an issue towards the beginning of our relationship just because, for me, how I want to receive love is, getting gifts or acts of service, since I feel like my scores were pretty close to what the quiz results were. So I would just keep throwing gifts at him and give him small tokens of appreciation. He would say, Vanessa, you just being here is more than enough for me. You don't have to keep buying me things. So
Yeah.
No, that's sweet.
Yeah, I'm kind of like the same way. Like, even though my scores are pretty high for quality time and words of affirmation, I definitely show love mostly by like giving gifts and stuff. Like, I don't know. I feel like I struggle to show love in other ways. I don't know.
I feel that. I struggle to show love in almost every way but physical.
Yeah.
Yeah, do my best to try to incorporate any kind of like manifestation of affection that I can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, does anybody have anything else to say about love languages?
I mean, while you might have a number 1 or a number 2 preference, it's important for any relationship to have all 5 parts, but just knowing what your partner's main way of giving love is very helpful.
Yeah, that is.
And just
actually
gotta
pretty good advice.
appreciate them,
Yeah.
even if it's like not your preferred, way. I don't know. Like some people are kind of rude about how their partner shows love to them, but that's just how they show it.
Yeah.
Just gotta appreciate them where they are.
Yeah, they just gotta learn to adjust to what their partner expects or what their partner like accepts the best, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, I was gonna ask you something, Byron.
what's your question?
Since you and your girlfriend have taken the quiz, how have you incorporated your answers into your relationship now?
Well, we spend a lot of time together. I don't think we've really changed much since we both took the quiz, since we kind of know what to expect out of each other just by like I think we have like similar enough scores to where we like show and expect things pretty similarly, I'd say. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I know that when I saw that she liked quality time the most, I just tried to plan a bunch of dates or like try to spend as much time with her as I can or make it meaningful whenever I'm with her.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Now we're gonna talk about the talking phase. Are you guys ready for that?
Oh my gosh, the talking phase is torture.
Yeah.
Like, date me already.
Okay, so if you didn't know, the talking phase in a relationship is the sort of phase where you're kind of learning about each other. So like getting to know somebody, but in more words. So for the talking phase, it's just when you and the person, you kind of know that the other person likes you, but you're not sure if you want to like actually date them or not yet. Or you may want to date them and you're just not sure how to make that next step. Well, we're here to kind of talk you through that and to maybe give you some pointers and stuff. So, to get the discussion about the talking phase going, I'm pretty sure we've all been in the talking phase before. We might have some nightmare stories about how we got ghosted or something, or how we were like permanently stuck in the talking phase. But, yeah, so does anybody want to share something about the talking phase that they've experienced?
I'll share something. It's gonna be about like when me and my boyfriend were in the talking stage. So kind of straight off the bat, when we like first started talking, like as friends, like we just kind of hit it off like really well, and we spent like almost every single day talking to each other to the point where we just started to give each other like pet names, like babe, all that stuff, and eventually this turned into the talking stage where we started to like text every day, almost FaceTime every day, and everything like that. And then like, knowing me and my anxiety, I had thoughts like saying, like what if he actually didn't like me and I was the only one that was liking him. So I messaged him one day telling him that, hey, like I like you. And this went over his head because I was asking him about it this one time, and he was like, I didn't know you told me that you liked me. And I was like, yes, I did. But after that, I was still unsure. And then this one day after work, I like FaceTimed him, and I was telling him like, hey, like I really like you, and I hope that you like me too. And then like, what was scary about this is because like I've never like, taken lead in a talking phase, and I had it lead to like a relationship. But after I told him that I liked him, through FaceTime, he was quiet for like 20 minutes, and I was just like, oh my god, dude, you're killing me. And then he has the audacity to tell me 20 minutes later when I'm anxious and like I don't know, I guess I was hating myself that I shouldn't have said anything. He was like, oh, I like you too. I'm like, bruh, it's been 20 minutes. You have me sitting here for 20 minutes. Fucking scared. And then from there, we didn't even start dating. We were still in the talking phase. And on October 26th, which is coming up soon, by the way, we were on FaceTime, and like I think we were like pulling an all-nighter together, and we were just playing games. And then he pulls the "What are we?" card. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's so funny, and if he's listening to this, I am so sorry. I'm exposing you right now, but I was like, what do you mean? Like, we're together, aren't we? And he was like, yeah, but am I your boyfriend? Are you my girlfriend? I'm like, why, do you want to be? I don't know. It was like it was awkward.
Yeah, I feel
how
that.
we started dating, because it was just like, it went from what are we to are we this to yes, we're that. And so, like, we both agreed on, putting the label on each other. So that's how it started. And the talking phase was pure torture because I had so much anxiety, and I was thinking that he didn't like me, even though we were in the talking phase. Because, like, you never know. People just talk to you just to talk to you.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to think any more of it or any less of it if it wasn't that way. It was so nerve-wracking, and I don't know. It was scary. I don't usually put myself out there anymore, but when I did, I think it was worth it.
Yeah.
Well, my most recent talking phase, so the one right before my relationship, was kind of similar, I'd say. Like, we met in like a school group chat or whatever, and then after her orientation, I decided to say like, hey, let's meet up somewhere on campus before you go home. And after that day, I think we just kept talking like privately outside of the group chat, and we ended up like watching a show together, and it ended up being like every night we'd just be on the phone all night. And then we saw each other a few times, and we hung out, watched movies and stuff. And one day I told her that I liked her, but I did it in like a really kind of weird way. Like, I think I was reading off of my phone because I had wrote something about her on like my Finsta or something, and she didn't really understand what I was saying, but I thought that I made myself pretty clear when I was saying that I liked her. And so like after a week of her not really giving me like a clear reply on what happened, I was just kind of worried that I messed things up, because I mean, even if she didn't like me, I would still be fine with being her friend. And so when we talked about it, she told me that she didn't even know that I was telling her that I liked her, and she didn't know what to say back. But then like a few days later, she was just like, yeah, I think I like you too, blah 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 blah. And then we went on a date, and then we ended up making it official on the date. So it was kind of similar to yours in that they didn't really get it at first, or they didn't like believe what they were hearing or something, but we eventually got there.
Yeah.
How about you, Luis and Vanessa?
The talking phase, I mean, most of the time for me, it went pretty smoothly, but I mean, that was like in high school. Like, most of the smooth ones are in high school, but they started to get shakier in college. Because in high school, you could always pull like that old trick where it's like for to be honest DM, and then like it kind of just shoots off from there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, most of the times, most of the times, like a few times it's worked out, and then from there, you just start talking about what you like, hey, you're pretty funny on Twitter. I'm like, oh, thanks. And like, just talk about stuff that you like. He's like, hey, are you free this weekend? Like, let's go see a movie or something. Like, just like typical like going out to do stuff things. Yeah. And then from there you can kind of size each other up, and you can kind of find out. Well, for me, I just found out for myself whether or not like I wanted to pursue this further, or if I just wanted to be like, nah, I think I'm okay. But I mean, for the most part, it's been pretty smooth.
Okay.
And then in college, it's like, I don't know, studying is like a really big thing now. So It's like talking to people is not something I do as often. so it's a little bit tougher. And then you're on a college campus with a bunch of people that you don't even know, and you don't really have a foothold in anything yet. So like there's like easy ways out. Like there's like Tinder and Bumble and all that, but then even that has its cons. Huh?
I hate both of them.
Yeah, I uninstalled them after a few months. I was like, yeah, I mean, like there are talking phases I've like managed to like get my way through, but I mean most of the time it's like I don't really see it happening.
Whenever I did have talking phases in college, outside of the one that led to my current relationship, they've always been like really bad or something, like not like terrible or like any like outwardly experienced, but I'd always have like it end up with nothing happening, or we're just kind of like, oh, maybe we should be doing this, or maybe this might not work out or something.
Yeah, sounds about right. It's usually, it's either that or just ends up in some weird limbo that just dies off within a few days.
Yeah. I remember I was in like the talking phase, I guess, with this girl that worked at like the ice cream shop on campus, and I'd try to like reach out to her and like plan like an actual date or something, but she would just like either air me out or just like say, oh, I'm busy or something, and I was like, okay, that's fine. But at the same time, whenever I'd see her, she kind of like expressed interest and stuff, so I was just like, well, do you want to actually try to do something, or what do you want to do? Like, come on. And then
she stopped playing the games.
I think it just ended. Huh? What'd you say?
She playing that hard to get.
I guess. And then we ended up just like not really doing anything. Like we talked to each other a few times and we saw each other around campus a few times, but besides that, it was just whatever. But yeah, Vanessa, do you have any experiences you want to share with us?
Yeah, but before that, I was gonna ask if anyone here has experience doing the talking phase with multiple people at once, because I don't personally.
I do. Like it was I felt like most of the time I've done something like that, it's been like in high school or something, where I was just I don't know, I wasn't really serious about anybody or anything and stuff, so I was just like kind of messing around with ideas and stuff, but that isn't really like fulfilling. Like I prefer to just like devote all my time to like one person than multiple people.
Me too.
Yeah.
I've never talked to multiple people. Never.
Yeah, I think I've only ever really had like 2 big relationships, and for both of them they were interested in me and I was interested in them, so I never had to worry about like trying to juggle the talking phase with multiple people at once, because that sounds hard.
I mean, it's not like super hard or anything, because it's not like you really expect anything out of them or they expect anything out of you. You're just kind of getting to know each other and figuring out how you feel about each other, or like if you should try or whatever. Like I think the worst it ever got with that is they just all kind of fell apart, I guess. Like I just stopped talking to the person, or it just didn't work out, so we just stopped talking. And I mean, that's not really that much of a problem, because I feel like I could still reach out to them whenever, but it's just not going to be a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, for my current relationship that I'm in right now, when we met, I was actually in another long-distance relationship at the time, and like we learned in episode 2, long-distance relationships are very hard.
Yeah.
So I was already in some kind of like limbo where I was dating this person, but I wasn't as into it anymore, since distance is obviously very hard.
Yeah.
And I met my current boyfriend on campus, and then we started talking, and we would talk every day. And it was always just as friends, because he knew I had a boyfriend. And then I started catching feelings for him. And then that's when I decided to break up with my ex now, and decide to get together with my current boyfriend. because we would spend all day talking to each other, and it made me realize, you know, it made me realize that I can't keep being in a long distance relationship anymore. So
Yeah.
that's my experience.
Nice.
So, I have some advice for anybody that's like currently in the talking phase that may be a little discouraged because, you know, maybe the person isn't replying normal, or maybe you're kind of unsure on what to do for the next step or whatever. It's like, just make sure that when you're in a talking phase that, you know, you're aware, or at least somewhat aware, of how the other person feels. Like, it's okay to ask how they feel about you or whatever. Like, that should be like pretty normal because, you know, as somebody that you're kind of romantically involved with. But don't be like mad, or like don't think that the end game has to be a relationship, because it can just become good friends with the person. Like, if you're connecting with the person and it doesn't end up in a relationship, that's not really a problem. Just be fine with being their friend, because that'll make things easier for you and them. Because if they're not feeling you the way that you feel them, then they might be pressured to say like yes so they don't hurt your feelings, or they might be like trying to distance themselves from you until you can kind of like work out your feelings towards them and stuff. But yeah, just try not to like push the idea on a relationship. Try not to push the idea of a relationship onto someone who very clearly isn't receptive of that idea, because it'll just end up with one or the both of you feeling unhappy or unsatisfied with whatever you have going on. And if you're worrying about making the next move or something, just I don't know, like I don't want to say just suck it up, but kind of just put your pride aside and put yourself out there. Unless you're like falling in love with somebody off of talking to them often, don't like, you shouldn't be like too pressured about anything. It's just a little crush, and if they say no, then you're an adult or young adult. Just get over it, just like you would normally do.
Yep.
Don't ignore the signs.
Yeah.
And make sure you respect personal space. If they don't want a relationship, respect that.
Yeah.
It may not be what you want, but it's what they want. And if you want them happy, respect their decisions.
Yeah.
100%.
And like, don't be one of those guys that complains that every girl friend zones you, because like you're just like saying that you're expecting like a relationship out of every girl you meet or whatever. Like, it's okay to say that you're in the friend zone or whatever if you have feelings that it could be more than a relationship, but don't like die because the girl said she just wants to be friends with you. And don't push that idea any further unless you want the girl to just stop talking to you altogether. Like, don't be creepy.
Yeah, don't be creepy, don't be awkward, don't be different. Just, you know, just stay friends. It's not that hard.
Yeah, I mean, you don't always have to have a girlfriend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's your fault for catching feelings that fast.
And I mean,
And not being able
another
to
thing
reach
is, I don't know what you guys consider the talking phase, because I know that whenever I'm in the talking phase, like, I don't really do much with the person besides really, like, talk to them. Like, maybe once or twice I've kissed someone whenever we were just in the talking phase, but that's, like, the farthest it's ever gone. I don't know if you guys, like, sleep with people you're in the talking phase with, or, like, you do more than just, like, talk or, like, hang out and stuff. But, I'd say try not to sleep with someone that you're just talking with. Like, that's up to you. If you want to do that, then go for it. But that makes things like way less hard for like if things don't work out, because if this is somebody you've been sleeping with and they tell you they don't want a relationship, that shit's gonna sting way more than if it's just somebody that you've been going on dates with or like hanging out with or something.
I mean, I've had one bad experience with a talking phase, and it's all on me. There's this one guy that I used to talk to back in high school. I'm not sure if it was sophomore or junior year. I think it was sophomore year. And this guy was really into me, and, you know, I liked him, but, like, the more we were into the talking phase, the more I realized that I didn't really like him like that. Like, it was just really weird. The furthest we've gone was, um, it was at a friend's house, and we were, you know, having a fun time, and it ended up with us like making out and like, you know, kissing, and like, keep in mind we weren't dating or anything, we were just in a talking phase, and like, all I remember was my cousin was also there. He barged into the room and just kind of like tore the guy off of me, and was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Whoa, I don't even know what's happening right now." But all I remember was throwing up afterwards, because I was like, "What am I doing? Like, what the?" And this, like, at that time in my life, like, I just got out of a really, really bad relationship where I've got cheated on. And so, like, I felt kind of numb to certain things. And, like, I didn't not like the guy. I mean, I liked him. Like, I liked his company. But I just think that his company filled in, like, the loneliness I had, rather than me liking him, like, as a person, because he did have really bad qualities in him that I didn't realize. I just liked the company he gave me. And so, like, the way we ended things was just not like, I just ended it. Like, I just kind of ghosted him, and I felt bad because he really did like me, but I just didn't want to pursue it any longer, because I knew I was getting off of the attention he gave me, and I just needed, you know, time alone, rather than feeding off of other people's, you know, attention that they give me, and all that stuff, because it's just leading them on, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think I was actually in like the opposite of that scenario, where I was the guy, and it was like in my ninth grade year of like high school and stuff, and so me and the girl didn't really like go out on dates or anything, but we talked a lot, and whenever we had the chance, we'd hang out with each other and talk to each other, and I thought things were going pretty smoothly and everything, but apparently it wasn't. And so we'd see each other, we'd just like hang out and stuff, we'd even like kiss sometimes, and like you know, like high school stuff, I guess. I'm not gonna say like we had sex or anything, but we just like kind of hang out a lot and stuff. And then like, I think I asked her if she wanted to be in a relationship, and she was like, I don't know, because we might not be going to the same school next year, because I wasn't going to go back to the high school that I was at in my ninth grade year. And I was just like, I mean, we could still make it work, but whenever the school year ended, it wasn't even like whenever the school year ended, it was like a few days before I think she finished her last final, so she just didn't come for the rest of the week. She just like stopped responding to me altogether, and cut off all communications with me, and that shit hurt. Like, that shit stung really bad. And a few months later, I was telling my friend about that whole situation and how it made me feel. And my friend was like, well, I'm kind of cool with the girl, and what she told me was that, you know, she liked you and everything, but you were just a little too nice for her or whatever. And I was just like, what? And
What?
and so like, for a period of my life, I was just like trying to redeem myself towards other people. I wasn't being rude, but I definitely wasn't being as nice as I used to be towards a few people. Then I realized I was just like, man, I am doing all of this work to kind of get back at a girl that I'm not even like gonna ever talk to again. And so I just kind of just went back to being me, kind of nice and everything. And then it was like, I think my junior year of high school, my brother ended up at the same high school that she was at. And I don't know how they met each other or anything, but she apologized to me through him. She was just like, hey, tell your brother that I said sorry or whatever. I was just like, oh, okay. I didn't even know she was still thinking about it, but it's whatever.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Pretty cold.
I mean, it's
That is
fine.
pretty cold. How are you gonna say, oh, he's too nice? What?
I mean, I don't know. From what I hear, she seems to have a certain type, and I definitely wasn't it. So the fact she entertained me was pretty interesting, in my opinion. And if you're listening to this, hi. So yeah, do you guys have any suggestions for getting out of the talking phase or getting through the talking phase, or what to expect from it, or whatever?
Well, it might not be the best advice. It's just what I've like learned and experienced and have found to work. I mean, usually I would try to kick it off with like a social event, like maybe going to the movies, going out on a date, going to the zoo, like something like that. You know, like spending as much quality time as you can, like just having a good time, being yourself, just enjoying each other's company. And then like after that, once like the come down, like whenever you finally go home and then you're like, hey, thanks for a great night and all that. And then you kind of like put the questions like, so and then and I don't know, it's hard to think about this. I'm trying to think about how I did it.
You put your arm on their shoulder and you're like, hey. Like the
No. Yes, I was gonna say Spider-Man. Such a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, at least once I've done that, or not. Okay, well, maybe not the arm around like the shoulder. You're like, hey, I gotta tell you something. And you're like, not like that, but like you just know it's like, hey, I had a really great night tonight, and I was just like wondering, like, maybe do you want to like take this a step further, and then you like go from there. And then like other times it's been like you finally get home and all
best
that.
Friends?
Huh? Yeah, and then you just be like, hey, like I feel like we've had a great time tonight, and like we've been like getting further and further in this like little relationship. So like, do you want to finally make it official? And then from there you can either like do it over text, or you can like go out and then like actually have a date and then be like make it official there. But, yeah, I mean, that's my advice. Try to get a social event, do something like go out, do something, and then take it from there, and then ask them. That's all I got.
My advice would be, I mean, keep in mind that you both are two very independent people. If they show interests in any of your interests, and that means some like they pay attention to what you do, what your interests are. And if they show interest in it, then like that means like they like being around you, and they'll do anything to be around you. So you should do the same for them. Find what they're into, and just be like, hey, let's do this together, let's do what you want together, all this and that. Like, it's kind of treat it like a relationship, but not really. Like, you still gotta respect, like, that you guys aren't together, but just keep in mind that just show them that you're thinking of them, and make them like make a cheeky playlist for them or something. I mean, that's how me and my boyfriend did it. Like, I made him a playlist, he made me one. He was interested in what I was doing, and I was interested in what he was doing, and like from there, like it's like it's a home run. Just get into it.
Yeah, the respect is a big thing too, like knowing your boundaries, and then of course feeling it out.
Yeah,
you don't want to go in there.
I think the best way to get out of the talking phase or whatever is to kind of express your intentions and tell them, or like ask them out on a date. Like, make sure that you clarify it's not really friendly date, it's like more of a romantic date. So like, I mean, it could still be whatever date you had in mind, but just tell them that you want to plan a date with the intentions of it being romantic. Don't like literally say that word for word. Just say like, hey, can we go on like a real date, not just like a friend date or something. Like, that works better than the technical stuff I was saying. But yeah, do you have anything to say, Vanessa?
Yeah, I was just gonna say my 2 best words of advice would be just being honest with yourself and communicate. It's like typical relationship 101 stuff, but especially during the talking phase, you don't want to put on an act of someone you're trying to be. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Oh yes, definitely key.
Especially since, in terms of my current relationship, I had to be honest with myself and decide, am I going to keep being with my current boyfriend, or should I, since I'm talking to this person, I'm really starting to, we talk all the time, starting to catch feelings. Like, I had to be honest myself and decide where I wanted to move on, or where I wanted to go.
Yeah, that's fair. So now that we've talked about the talking phase and what to expect from it and how you should kind of navigate yourself while you're in it and whatnot, let's get into first date stuff. So what would you guys say people should expect from a first date? Like, they're getting ready for the date and everything, and they're about to leave out the door. What should they expect?
Just be yourself. That's probably the best thing you could possibly do is be yourself.
Yeah, but like, what should they expect out of the first date? Like, if you guys were going on a first date tonight with your partner or whatever, like, let's say your relationship starting all over again. What are you going into the first date expecting to get out of the first date, I guess? So like, you may be going just to kind of talk to them or just kind of like spend time with them, or you may be going with the idea that you might be able to bring them home or something. Like, what should people expect out of a first
A
date?
kiss.
A kiss.
I would expect, respect, respectful mannerisms and all that, like, and showing me their true colors, getting to know them on a deeper level, and expressing the love even more.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been on like an actual date. I've never been on a date at all. Like, sure, I've been to the park with my ex-boyfriend, but that's just us, going to the park, playing basketball or playing soccer, volleyball, whatever. We were just playing sports. It wasn't really like a date. It was like a scheduled thing, saying like, hey, you want to go like play? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. But I've never really been on a date where we're going out. It's because obviously at my age when I was dating my ex, we were kind of too young to go on like an official date. So I've never really had a first date.
For you?
Huh?
How young is too young for you for like a first date?
We're like 13, 14.
Oh, yeah, that is definitely too young.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was like 13, I was still going on like, I wouldn't say like dates, but I would still like go public places with like my partner. Like, I think when I was 13, I was actually in like what I considered for a long time to be my first relationship. I don't really count that one anymore, but me and my girlfriend used to go to like the movies or to the mall every few weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's definitely a little bit too young for like a real first date, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't think about like going out to eat or anything like that. Like, we just focused on each other and like being with each other and playing sports together, because I was a very athletic person and he was as well. Like, he was into soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was into volleyball, and like we just kind of bonded over sports, and every time we got together we either played sports or just sat on the bleachers and just talk. I don't know, watch videos. It's just nothing really. I don't know if you would call either of those a date, but in my opinion, I don't think it's actually like an official date.
Yeah. All I'd say for what to expect out of a first date, I guess, is not to really get your hopes up, to just kind of take things as they go. Don't like go into the first date expecting to get married or something. Like,
oh yeah,
if things don't like click out after the first date, don't like give up all hopes, because I mean, it could have just been like a bad date. Like, things happen, you never really know what to expect going forward. So don't give up if somebody maybe wasn't as what they presented themselves out to be on the first date or anything. I'll also say, don't go in with high expectations, and don't put a lot of pressure on the other person to kind of carry the date, I guess. Like, talk to them, ask for their input and stuff, but don't make like everything about them. Like, make sure you get some of your own input into, because it might pressure them or whatever, or make them think that you're not really interested in being there. Like, show them that you care about them. Show them, like, on your end, show them the reason why they should want to have more dates with you, or why you're like a good candidate to date them or something. Like, I don't know.
Just to put into perspective, okay, so I know you've had our fair share of long distance relationship episode 2, by the way. Plug. Anyway, let's just say there's a couple that's in a long distance relationship and they meet for the first time and they have a first date, and that first date doesn't end up going as well as, you know, the relationship was. Like, what would your view be on that? Like, how would you?
So, like, if people were, like, in, like, a long-distance relationship and they were going on, like, their first in-person date together and it was a little awkward, then just kind of accept that this is the first time you guys have met each other and seen each other in person. It's going to be a little awkward.
True.
If you guys have, like, been in a relationship for a while or something, which you probably have if you're making a long-distance relationship, like, an in-person thing, you should probably just, like, kind of sit back a second and just say, like, hey, what happened here isn't, like, what it's only going to be or whatever, or what to expect out of it, but just try to figure out how to make the next date better or something. Talk it out with them. And if you feel like you bombed out on the first date, I wouldn't say, like, tell them, like, hey, I'm sorry, I might have been a little off today, because then they might be like, oh, yeah, about that, I didn't really like the time either, or whatever, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. But try to, like, own your mistakes, but don't be, like, super self-deprecating, because then, like, you know, it's not really great for you to, like, poop on yourself when you're trying to look good in front of somebody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, a thing that I'd say is, like, a good bit of advice between a first date and, like, the talking phase is to be confident, because if you're not confident in yourself, your partner's going to notice it. Like, it's very easy to see when someone isn't, like, super confident in themselves. At least for me.
Yikes, yeah.
How do you guys, or what do you guys think is, like, the best way about going to get, like, a first date or whatever? Like, what's the best way to ask someone, or to kind of, kind of set one up? Like, what I've done previously is just straight up ask them, like, hey, you want to go on a date or something, and then we figure out the details later. Or I'll say, hey, are you busy this day? Can we do this or whatever? And stuff like that. So how have you guys gone about getting dates or planning your date out?
Usually just hit them with the, like, hey, are you free this weekend? Or are you free on this day? And then, you know, from there, I'm sure they could gauge, like, the kind of question, like, you know, oh, he wants to go out and do this, or he wants to go on a date, or he wants to go do that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just, I mean, be specific after that. If they, like, accept it, you're like, oh, okay, do you want to go here, or here? And then, you know, y'all can, like, work that out. But usually it's just like, hey, are you free this weekend? I mean, that's usually what I've stuck with, and it usually works out pretty well. I mean, that's my advice. Just keep it simple.
I'm a big fan of the can we get lunch or dinner together?
Yeah.
Ooh, the can we is a hit for me. Saying we, that's so sweet. I like that.
Yeah. So, let's say you guys, or let's say someone asked you guys on a date, or you guys were in charge of planning a date or whatever, and the idea came down to seeing a movie and getting dinner. In what order would you do this? Would you get the dinner first and then go see the movie? Would you see the movie and then go get the dinner, or what would you do?
I would do the movie and then get dinner, because I feel like a movie, you're just focused on the movie. You can kind of get used to their presence, but you're mainly focused on the movie. And then afterwards, once you're kind of comfortable being a spot together, then you go get dinner and you can talk about. You have more things to talk about, like the
Very
movie.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. That
Yeah.
is big brain.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I probably do the same thing, but it's also not just because of like you know, you got to be focused on the movie and then you got something to talk about. Like, what if the food that you order gets you gassy or something? You won't be blowing up the movie theater or something.
Oh nah.
Nah, he's right.
But yeah, and also
It's good
on
to
the note
cozy
of
up.
like, on the note of like going somewhere for like dinner after a movie or something, make sure you bring like some mints or something, because you never know what they're gonna order, and if they order some with extra onions or extra garlic, they probably ain't like the date that much, or if they did, you might want to hand them a mint. So if you guys end up kissing or something, that bread don't stink.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Don't want
sneak one
no-
in your mouth and then put it in theirs in your face.
Yeah.
It's already warm.
It's the most polite way to do it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How would you guys hand your gun? Not guns. How would you guys hand your,
Whoa.
I was about to say, I was like, damn, we're getting that right or die.
How would you guys hand your mint off to the person if you know they got bad breath?
Do you want a mint?
Take a free shot or a free throw shot.
Yeah, but like, what if they don't understand why you're handing them the mint and they think you're just being like a dick?
No, I would just say, just straight up tell them. You know, it's rather like you be straightforward than lie to them and just say, oh no, it's fine. Like, just say, hey, like your breath is kind of kicking. Do you want something to help you with that? Like, if they get offended, then that's on them. Like, they're just trying to look out for you. So.
Yeah, for me, I think it'd be like, I think I'd pull out the mints first and then like take one of my visually show them like I have a mint in my hand, like like, hey, you want a mint as well, and then like hopefully they take it, and if they don't, I mean at least you got your own mint to smell, I guess. I don't want to be rude. It's like the first date, bro. I'm not trying to ruin everything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I wish I was brave like Jenny
Yeah.
to straight up be like, I don't know about your breath. No, I'd be like Luis and just like very dramatically pull out my mints and make sure they can hear it opening and me jiggling it
Make sure they hear the
Just-
Altoid 10.
Make a racket out of it.
Yeah, like shaking it in your hand and pop it in your mouth.
That's so extra, but I'm with that. It's so funny. Oh my goodness.
Just like keep on doing it like all night.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, the constant hints for that. It's hilarious.
Nah, as soon as you see they fucking ordered onions and fucking garlic, you just pull out the mints and you're like, hey, you want one?
They're just like in the middle of eating. Oh my god.
It's like, yeah, just use it to wash everything down with your drink.
Oh my goodness.
Then you gotta slip a little mouthwash in their drink.
I was gonna say buy.
Yo.
Yeah, dude,
I was
tell the
gonna
guy.
say buy them a shot of something, and that way the alcohol can kind of be mouth.
Kill the onion bacteria.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, but yeah. So now that we're like talking about like going for dinner after a movie, like what type of diner or like place would you stop at after a movie? Like, I feel like McDonald's, Burger King, and like all the different fast food restaurants are like out the window if you're like actually on a date. But I mean, I don't know. Where would you guys go? Like, it could be like a local restaurant that you like. It could be like a worldwide chain that you like or something. What you guys like first pick for a restaurant after a movie?
I would do ramen.
Ooh.
It's-
That sounds so good.
It's
right
not fast food. It's not somewhere really fancy. It's like $11 for a bowl. And I usually go to Ginia. It's a chain. So what I like about it is that the decor is nice, but it's not like uber fancy or anything. So it seems like a good place to go.
What about you, Jenny and Luis?
I for one, like I said before, I've never really been on dates, so I don't really know any places, but like I do see people on Snapchat post of like pictures of their foods and their locations, and I'm like, oh, those look pretty good. Sometimes I check them out and I look at the menus and see, like if any of the food there is like. So, so my boyfriend, yeah, he doesn't eat pork because it's a religion thing, and like I respect that. So I try to look for any places that don't necessarily serve pork, because some restaurants don't, really clean their grills good enough, and I don't want to be contaminated with pork. So like I always try to look at the menus. I'm thinking way ahead in the future for when he comes down and visits, because I want to be able to take him out and have dinner with him.
Yeah.
But I try to look at the menu and try to like just be wary of pork and anything that's pig or anything. So, but right now though, everywhere sells pork, and it's really hard to find a place.
What about you, Luis?
From personal experience, I wouldn't pick the choice I chose. I mean, it was like back in like freshman year, I think, of high school. It was like after the movies, you just like, dude, Jack in the Box, use some curly fries right now to hit so hard. And then it was just kind of casual, so it was like, whatever. So yeah, I'll get some curly fries. But like, it's like for now though, I think after a movie, maybe somewhere like chill, nothing like too fancy or extraordinary. Like, there's I'm trying to think, what's that place called?
You gotta bring them
I
the
can't think of the
bombshells
place.
to show them their competition.
Dude, you finna hit bombshells real quick. Like, just let her know what's going on. But no, I don't know, just somewhere like kind of like what Vanessa said, like a ramen place would be pretty nice. I mean, I haven't personally gone like after a movie with somebody, but I mean that sounds like it fits the vibes. Pretty chill, like, just a good bowl of ramen to finish the night.
Maybe if you're both able to drink, to go to a bar or like a brewery. That seems like a casual place too.
That's if you're of age, of course.
Yeah, of course. We wouldn't want to promote underage drinking in any capacity.
I'm only 20, but
I think we all
like
turned
really
21
cool
this year, or we're gonna be 21 sometime this year.
It's almost the end of the year, though.
Yeah.
What a crazy year, don't you think?
Yeah, this year's been.
That's
nuts.
what I was gonna ask. If we have any advice on someone who's trying to get a first date and during COVID.
Ooh, during COVID, it might be a little bit harder to convince somebody to come see you, but I feel like if you're like good first date ideas for COVID, I'd say is like maybe going to the park and having like a picnic or something.
Yes, I was gonna say that.
You can like social distance away from like everybody else, and you guys can like do something together, like maybe like bring like a board game or something. Like that might be a little boring, but maybe like paint or something, pack a lunch. That's always something that gets people like excited.
Take note of their favorite foods and bring it.
Yeah. You gotta show them you care.
I actually saw that on Twitter recently. They actually had like a little picnic thing too, so that's a good idea.
Yep.
Really is a good idea. Must be nice.
Yeah.
We're only at an hour right now. So, is there anything you guys want to talk about or anything? Like, anything just like random or whatever?
What was your first date like, Mood?
Oh, my first date. Oh, you want me to talk about? Well, I mean, I've only been on a few dates, I'd say. Like in my entire life, like actual dates, I've only been on a few, and they've always been like me and my partner going somewhere just like random. Like I've been on picnics before, I've been to restaurants before, I've been to the movies, to the mall, all types of stuff. But usually what I enjoy the most on like dates and whatnot has been just like picnics and stuff. So I'll pack a lunch or something, and then me and my partner go somewhere. We just kind of chill for a few hours. We might eat, talk, stuff,
Wait, was the question? Was the question about like what your first date was like, or what you want out of a first date?
just like what our first dates are like. So I guess I didn't really answer the question, but
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
yeah, for my first date and my relationship, we went to the movies, and then after the movies, we still had a little bit of time left, so we went to like a park or something. And we didn't like bring a lunch or anything. We just kind of sat down and talked for a little bit. We talked about the movie, then I kind of steered us into the direction of like, hey, what is this gonna be like? Are we gonna date? Like, what are we gonna do? And we ended up deciding we were gonna date that day. So
I think my first date experience, we went out to eat at I mean, it's a pretty typical place like here, like in Southeast Houston. Like, you know, you go to Kima, there's like the Ichiban place, like where they cook in front of you and all that. So we went out there. After that, we just went to the boardwalk, hung out, and then, you know, just did all the rides, like, you know, like all the little amusement things and all that. But that's pretty much it. It was just, you know, just a little nice night out. Pretty moderate weather. It was around this time of the year. It was just pretty chill outside. Just hung out. I mean, that's how it went. It was just pretty.
Kima's a pretty good date.
But I feel like after you go to Kima one time, you can't go back for like another year. Because there's like only so much you can do at Kima.
yeah. So now that we've pretty much covered all the topics and everything, is there any like closing things you guys want to say? Like, is there anything you want to plug? Is there anything you want the listeners to know what you're doing, or like what you've been up to? Like, is there anything you want to support, plug, or anything?
Yeah, ladies DM me, Instagram at LUISTILL3005. Hit me up.
I'll put his social media in the description as well. What about you, Vanessa?
Follow me on Twitter if you want. Hopefully you link that down below.
Do not follow me on Twitter, y'all. Have you follow my Instagram, please.
And if you have any...
Yeah, I'll put their social media stuff in the description and whatnot if you guys want to follow them and check them out. Whatever.
If you need a relationship advice, at poofcast on Instagram and Twitter.
Oh yeah, that's another thing I wanted to say. So
Plug.
starting with next episode, I'll put something in our description that'll give you guys a chance to sort of submit scenarios or whatever that you've kind of gone through, so we can kind of talk about stuff specifically relating to you guys, and so you guys can feel more involved with the show and everything. We're gonna like accept all the submissions and stuff, and as we get them, we'll incorporate them into the show. Like, we might say like, hey, let's sit down and talk about some listener questions and stuff. Like, you might write it as like, dear Byron and Jenny, today me and my boyfriend got into this fight and it happened with this and blah 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 happened. Like, what should I do? And me and Jenny will sit down and do our best job of trying to give you advice. So yeah, if you guys have something you want to talk about, just make sure you kind of hold it to the side, so whenever you are able to submit it, you can submit it and we can kind of help you through stuff. And for
idea.
those that we might not be able to touch on during the show, we'll try to like do it as the show goes on. So we might not be able to do them all in one episode. We'll do them in multiple episodes, or we might like respond to you directly if we feel like it's urgent enough. But we'll be like responding to everyone who submits stuff. And like I said at the beginning of the show, keep sharing it, keep listening, keep giving feedback and everything. Like, I love to hear what you guys have to say and how much you enjoyed the show. And if you guys have anything negative to say about it, then just still do that. Make sure you're like following us on our social media so I can do my giveaway. And we can also, like have higher subscriber counts and everything. I'll post on Twitter more details about the giveaway and everything when I figure it out. So make sure you follow us on twitter.com/poofcast. And unless you guys have anything to say, I think this should be the end.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had a great time.
It was fun.
It was fun.
All right, so we can stop.